If Deku Died, Part 2. Now, returning where I left off, Izuku had just defeated Aizawa in a fist fight or just some type of fight out in the courtyard of UA. The alarms had been going off for a good 10 minutes by then, and that had caused another hero to notice the fight between Izuku and Aizawa. This hero would be Midnight. Midnight would instinctively activate her quirk, but Izuku, hearing Nemori or Midnight step out from a tree, hearing the leaves just be broken under her feet, Izuku would instinctively cover his nose, knowing what Midnight's quirk is. He would then turn around and would speak to her. Ah, if it isn't Nemori, otherwise known as Midnight. I should have known another hero that worked here would come out, but out of everyone, I didn't expect it to be you. What? How do you know my name? Midnight would say, as Izuku would just smile a very just creepy and evil smile, as this would send chills down Midnight's spine. Oh, how do I know your name? I know the names of almost every single hero. I know yours, All Might's, even Aizawa's there. It's a piece of cake to find your names in the black market. And they're actually quite cheap, too. So, don't think you should be worrying about that. But I've already had enough fun for the day. And our boss is telling us that we need to retreat, so I might as well just give you a warning to make sure you don't follow me. Izuku would then disappear with the blink of Midnight's eye. Her eyes would widen, wondering where the hell Izuku had just gone. And instantly, she would feel a fist contact her stomach as she would be sent flying back, as she would then land by a tree right near where Aizawa had just been knocked out. She would barely look up, barely hanging on to her consciousness, to see Izuku's hand just smoking with some type of green smoke coming off of it, as she would then stand up to see Izuku had disappeared. She would then grab Aizawa and would limp over to the UA building, as Recovery Girl would then run out to heal her injuries. She had plenty of energy. She barely used her quirk at all, so it was a piece of cake to heal her. And after that, she was able to bring Aizawa to Recovery Girl's office and would then go to Nezu's office. She would then slam open the door and sit down frantically. Nezu, we have a big problem, she would say, as Nezu would be calmly sipping on his tea as he would just sit there. Okay, please tell me what this problem is. That villain out there that attacked Aizawa. He knows my name. He knows Aizawa's name, and he said he knew All Might's name too. Nezu's eyes would widen in shock, thinking that no villain has ever been able to find out their names before. They've always kept it very, very secret. So to find out that just some low-life thug to Nezu, who could just find out what their names were, was quite shocking and kind of scary to them. They didn't know what power this villain could have, and since they didn't, they had to be very, very just precautious, because if they did one false thing, he might know their address. Since he knows their name, he might know their address, and he could possibly find them and kill them while they were sleeping. So Nezu had to make some very important safety precaution decisions. Meanwhile, Izuku had just returned to the bar, seeing Shigaraki reading a couple documents that Kirogiri and him had stolen. Izuku would sit down on the bar stool next to them and would then look over. Did you get anything important that we could possibly do? Yes, there's going to be a USJ thing here. It's a field trip. They're going to be going to a place called the USJ in just about 2 weeks. I also can pinpoint the exact dates. of another field trip, a summer camp thing as well. These are quite good papers. Thanks for stalling time with Aisawa and Midnights. No problem, Izuku would say, as he would sit there waiting for the next thing to happen. 2 weeks would pass, and it would finally be time for them to invade the USJ. During those 2 weeks, they went around gathering tons of villains to hopefully just try to get an army that could possibly pose a threat to UA. These villains were low-life thugs, but if you had enough of them, they could possibly pose a real threat to the people at UA. Now, before I get into the USJ incident, let's get this quick ad break done with so I can continue with this what if. Shigaraki would give them the go-ahead as all of the villains would step through the portal. Izuku, Shigaraki, and the Nomu would step through it last. As they would then see Aisawa jump down and would start fighting and knocking out the villains. Of course, Izuku was wearing the very long trench type coat thing and his white demon Ani mask thing. I think someone said something about an Ani mask in the comments. I think that's what it's called. I can't really remember. Izuku would be staring there as his eyes would meet with Bakugo Katsuki, his old classmate, as Izuku would just wave at Bakugo, as Bakugo would find this quite strange, but he would see something that would spark a lot of old memories. Green hair was coming out of the back of this person's head. Now remember, this mask doesn't fully cover Izuku's head. It only covers the front of his face, so no one can see what his face looks like. So that leaves his hair open, and Bakugo could see the wild green curly hair that Izuku has, which Bakugo would just drop, thinking there's no way. That can't be Izuku. Izuku always wanted to be a hero ever since he was a child. There's no way he could just become a villain. There's no way he could. As Bakugo would jump down to this dismay of Aisawa would see Bakugo charging forward to Izuku, as Aisawa would try to use his scarf to get Bakugo back, yelling for Bakugo, "Bakugo, stop! That villain defeated me! Last time the villains invaded UA. We can't have you going after them. I know you can't defeat me. So if I can't defeat him, there's no telling what might happen to you." Bakugo would just think nothing of it, with his arrogance taking over his mind, as Aizawa, sending his scarf out to try and stop Bakugo, would leave Aizawa open, who Aizawa would see a punch coming from the Nomu and would try to dodge it, but couldn't, as the punch would connect with Aizawa's stomach, sending him flying up towards the ceiling of the USJ, to where he would slam into the ceiling and would then come just skyrocketing down, as 13 would be able to save him using her quirk somehow. I think it's a girl, I can't remember. I think someone in my comments said the gender was confirmed by the creator, but I can't remember. So 13 would save Aizawa, as Bakugo would continue to charge right at Izuku. Bakugo would go for a left hook punch, as Bakugo would smile, knowing that he was going for this. Izuku would easily dodge and would punch Bakugo square in the face, as Bakugo would then jump back, as he would think, "Jesus, I've never had somebody punch me this hard. I might actually lose this fight." As Bakugo would then laugh to himself, thinking, "What the hell are you thinking, Bakugo? You think you can lose to this stupid low-life villain? He's just a thug. You're a hero in training. There's no way you'll lose to him." as Bakugo, now overconfident and cocky, would jump back at Izuku with the same number of confidence, if not more, as Izuku would see the arrogance and cockiness flowing through Bakugo, as Izuku would use this to his advantage. Bakugo would go for an explosion, to which Izuku would easily dodge, with Izuku now activating his fire quirk. Remember, his fire is green. Izuku would grab Bakugo's hand, and Izuku's hand now illuminating with this green fire, it would burn into Bakugo's flesh as if it was melting it. As his entire class would hear the screams of pain and agony Bakugo felt, as Izuku would then, with his burning hands, grab Bakugo's face and would slam him into the pavement, and Izuku would then kick him aside like he was nothing but dirt. As Bakugo, in his mind, would just be thinking, how dare he? How dare he treat me like some child, like I'm not even worth fighting? I'll kill him for that, Bakugo would think as he would jump up trying to get one last punch on Izuku, but Izuku's pointer finger would block Bakugo and would then push Bakugo back to the ground where Bakugo would stay, now unconscious, not being able to stand up from just the sheer amount of pain he was feeling from getting third-degree burns on his body from Izuku's quirk. From there, all of the heroes in training, or UAs, students would end up be split up into different sections, as Izuku would tell Shigaraki that now that Aizawa and Bakugo's defeated, they now need to take care of 13 and the students that are left there. Izuku, having done extensive research, would look around and would notice something. One of the students was missing, as Izuku would think, Shigaraki, one of the students is missing. I think he possibly could have ran out to go get help. This could pose disastrous to our plans. What do you think, Kirogiri? Shigaraki would say, looking over to Kirogiri, as Kirogiri would start to think. Well, it's up to you. I mean, we do have the Nomu, something that could quite possibly defeat All Might. Yes, that is true, Shigaraki would say, as they would then hear the doors bust open, as the doors would be flying and would burst, or just hit the fountain behind them, sending water flying up in the air and concrete flying around them. As they would then look over to the entrance to see a very unhappy All Might. This would cause Shigaraki to break out laughing. Yes! Now that you're here, we can finally kill you! All Might he wouldn't care about this just statement by Shigaraki, as All Might would fly toward Shigaraki going for a punch, but the Nomu would step in, grabbing the fist, as it would then twist All Might's arm and would punch All Might right in the stomach, sending him back. Jesus, All Might would say, thinking how strong of a creature this thing must be to actually harm him. And that's where I'm going to leave it off, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy What If Deku Died Part 2. So I thank you all for watching once again, and goodbye.